Alright guys, what's up? I have an idea that I want to run past you because it's a theory I've been thinking about for a while. And there have been a couple things in the last few weeks that have made me really wonder about it, and that is whether or not print run sizes really matter. And of course I think they do matter, but I suspect that they matter less than we have historically given them credit for. There are a couple of reasons I think this. Rudy made a video a couple days ago, and he was talking about how he wished that WotC would print more collector boxes because it would satisfy more people in the market. And it's interesting because this is something that Mason from Cardinal Gaming says also, and that's really interesting because like Rudy and Mason and myself, we all three have kind of different business models, and especially Mason because he runs a card store. And so Mason has said many times in the past that he wishes he could get 3 times as much Pokemon product. And he wishes it was out there because it would keep the prices both down and more stable, so all of the players and collectors would be happier. And then the whole market would just function better. He wouldn't have to limit supply in various ways in order to let each customer have a little bit, and everything would just move smoother. And if you think about it, if WotC or Pokemon or LSS, let's say they just print double the amount for some product, any random product, they just print twice as much. There are built-in market mechanisms that kind of fix this, right? So through whatever system each company uses, they release waves of the product that they have already printed, but they're storing up. They release waves of that to the distributors, who release it out to the retailers, who release it to the customers. And so if there's more of that product in existence, then those waves will be a little bit bigger, a little bit more will be pushed out. Every retailer who is asked for a certain amount will get their allocation or get more of the allocation they requested. Distributors will make special deals with the retailers. Retailers will lower prices. But essentially, a properly functioning market will send signals up and down the chain from WotC to distributors to retailers to end buyers about what they demand, what prices they demand, what the supply looks like. And so the market will kind of naturally regulate this. And a good example of that is Crimson Vow. Look at how unpopular it is, but because it's unpopular, the price has been down. And similarly, if the price is down, there are times when people will come into the market and say, look, I just want a cheap booster box to open for fun, or I just want a night of drafting at the kitchen table with some friends, or something like that. And because there is more Crimson Vow on the market than there is a demand for because it's a weak product, the draft boxes have set at about $80 to $90 for the last, 4 months now. The set boxes have set at $85 to $95, and even the collector boxes have dipped down to $150 to $160. So the market has a built-in mechanism to regulate that when there is too much product. The second thing is, neither WotC nor LSS nor Pokemon USA really wants to print too much product. Now, they cannot perfectly estimate what the correct amount of product is because they don't know how a expansion is going to be received by the market. And even more difficult to that, let's take Pokemon as an example. If they release a good expansion, maybe Elite Trainer boxes won't be received as well for one set or another, or Build and Battle boxes, or Build and Battle stadiums, or tins, or any of the other products that Pokemon USA releases. And so these manufacturers have a very difficult problem of estimating how much to print. They do their best, but none of them wants to print too much because it ties up capital. It ties up capital at their level. When they release it to the distributor and the distributor can't move it, it ties up capital at the distributor level and the distributor gets angry. The same thing happens at the retailer, and the retailer, it's really bad because they're the most vulnerable in terms of capitalization. And so retailers sometimes get hit with more product than they can handle, or the market gets hit and the prices go down, and then retailers can't get the type of return on invested capital that they need to keep moving their business forward in the way that they would like. And so nobody in this chain wants there to be too much product. Now, at the very bottom level of the actual players and collectors, yes, you want there to be way too much because you want that price driven down so you can buy it cheaper. But you're the only one. Everyone else who's in charge of the system, they don't want too much product in it. So there's an incentive to not overprint a product. And when the product gets overprinted, there's a mechanism in the market to take care of it. The price goes down, more of it gets bought and opened, even when it's a bad product, like Crimson Vow. And additionally, if too much is printed early on, you will forego additional print runs later. And remember, there is not a printing press somewhere in the world today that's just spitting out draft boxes of Modern Horizons 2. Instead, what happens is WotC calls up one of the print companies and they say, hey, we want to do another run of Modern Horizons 2 draft boxes, 100,000 of them this time. And then the people at the print company say, okay, we can put you on the press in mid-June. And then they talk about prices, and eventually it goes to the press, and for days, weeks, however long it takes, they print nothing but those Modern Horizons 2 draft boxes, and then they get delivered to WotC. And so it's a discrete event of printing. And that complicates things because WotC has to say, okay, we have to make this decision way in advance of selling this product of how much we are going to have produced. And then we have to store it until the market absorbs it. So there's all kinds of factors in here that complicate trying to hit the exact correct print run. But there are other factors that will kind of make up for it when the estimation is bad. Now, the interesting thing is when you go back and you look at sets in the past, and I've done this on recent videos for 2020 Magic and Pokemon products and 2017 and 2018 Pokemon products. And what I showed was that returns on invested capital, if you had bought these products on release day, which is the worst day to buy in terms of employing your money, if you had bought them then and you had just held them to today, you would have compound annual growth rates of 15 to 100%. And of course, you viewers who do a lot of stock investing and understand the stock market, you're going to be listening to 15 to 100% CAGR and thinking, why am I not investing every penny I have in this stuff? Right. So there's good reasons not to, though. But even product that in the past was thought to be overprinted and printed to oblivion and all of these things, it's turned out that those assessments were wrong. Most of those products, the vast majority of them, do well in the long term, which kind of is a weak piece of evidence that the print run number is not as important. And I'd really love to hear what you guys have to say about this. I'm not completely married to this idea. This is kind of like a few months ago when I brought up whether draft boxes or set boxes will do better in the long run in terms of returns. And you guys had a lot of interesting inputs on that and really got me thinking in a lot of new directions about that topic. So let me know what you think. One other piece of evidence that I thought was interesting, potentially a counterpoint to this argument, is Battle Styles, Chilling Reign, and Fusion Strike. Because if you're into Pokemon and you know the price history of those products, basically about last October, nearly 7 months ago now, Pokemon USA dumped, I believe it was 6 expansions worth of reprints onto the distribution network at once. And so it was Darkness Ablaze, Battle Styles, Chilling Reign, Evolving Skies, Fusion Strike, and something else I forget. And so essentially what had happened is they were in the middle of releasing celebrations, and they had previously kind of hit the panic button with the print companies and said, just give us everything. And so they had reprinted 6 sets worth of product. And they got it, but then they wanted to hold it back so that it didn't crowd celebrations out of the market, which was like their Pokemon 25th anniversary product. And so then once celebrations had kind of had its time, they dumped 6 expansions at once. And 3 of those, Battle Styles, Chilling Reign, and Fusion Strike, just weren't popular enough to absorb that kind of volume in the market. And what happened is they all dropped down into like the low 80s, which is ridiculous. That's cheaper than a lot of card stores can buy at. And so you could get retail cheaper than a lot of card stores were getting wholesale for those 3 expansions. And even today, those 3 products have only pushed back up into the low 90s, which is barely more than most card stores are paying. So that seems to be something kind of going against my theory here that print runs don't matter, but I think that was an exceptional case. It was coming off of logistical challenges in 2021, still in the middle of the Pokemon mania. Pokemon USA just kind of said to the printers, give me everything you got. And then they had a special reason that they waited and they ended up dumping it all at once and totally saturating the market. So I'm not sure if that's a completely reasonable counter to my theory or if I'm rationalizing that it's not reasonable. So let me know what you think. I'd love to hear your thoughts about this. And otherwise, like, comment, share, and subscribe, and join me on Final Trade. Thanks a lot.